Okay, so two-way tables again is one of those topics that you've come across very recently on Dr. Frost, and you've been doing some of the practice questions. So this really is just to give you a little bit of additional support if you need it, just while you're doing some of your revision. So, two-way tables. The most important thing, first of all, is to look at that bottom number down there in the bottom right corner, because that is our total. So that tells us this two-way table is about favourite sport and sports and subject of some students. So that tells us that there are 70 students in total. So if I'm looking at this, the end column, my total column, that should add up to 70, but also my bottom row should also add up to 70. Okay, now then, if we look at trying to find one of our missing numbers, so if we look at football first of all, so if we look at football and English, so we know that the total for football is 33, and we've got 25 already who like maths. So that would mean that in order to work out those that like English, we would do 33 take away 25, and that would leave me with an answer of 8. And then last but not least, there's two ways we could do this. We could either add up how many people chose rugby in total, so 15 add 22, or we could use our total and we could work backwards and we could do 70 subtract 33. Okay, but for this one I'm going to do 15 add 22 and I get an answer of 37. So I'm going to put 37 in that box there. But I can obviously do a quick little check there to make sure that 37 add 33 does indeed add up to 70, which it does. Now then, finally I've added an extra question there in red at the bottom, and it says, what fraction of students like football and English? So if I go to my table and I'm looking for English and I'm looking for football, so I've got a possible 8 out of a total of 70. Now this question doesn't specifically say simplify your answer. So in this instance 8 over 70 would be fine. But on some questions be aware that you will need to simplify that to its simplest form. Okay, and I've divided both numbers there by 2. So the numerator and the denominator I've divided by 2. Okay, so that's a nice straightforward two-way table. Moving on to question 2, same idea, completing the two-way table, but a little bit more tricky now. So again, let's note that our total is 250. Okay, so first things first then, I'm going to look at being able to work out how many people can swim in total. So I've got 250 pupils in total, 60 cannot. So to get this one, I'm going to do 250 take away 60, and I get a nice answer there of 190. Okay, that should now lead me nicely to being able to work out year 7 who can swim. So to work out that, the total swim is now 190. So to get that one, I'm going to do 190, take away 61 year 8s, take away 74 year 9s, and I get an answer there of 55. Okay, moving on now to the second row. So I've got cannot swim. So I know there's 33 year 7s who cannot swim, and I know in total there's 60, but I've got year 8 and 9 missing. So I'm going to have to change the direction in which I do things a little bit. So I'm now going to go and look at moving, just focusing on year 9. So I know there's 84 in total year 9 pupils. So if 74 can swim, that would leave me with 10 who can't. So 74 add 10 would equal 84. Okay, now that will allow me to do my cannot swim row. So in order to get the year 8 who cannot swim, I can do 60, take away 33 year 7s, take away 10 year 9s, and that leaves me with a nice answer of 17. And then last but not least, and I'll do these in green, we can now work out our totals for our year group. So our total year 8 would be 61 add 17. So that leaves me with a total of 78. And then again for this last total for year 7, I've got two ways I can do it. I can either add my year 7 column, or I can add my total row and make it equal 250. But I think a nicer sum at this moment in time is to do 55 add 33, which should leave me with a nice 88. But a nice check, again, would be to check that 88 add 78 add 84 equals 250. And then last but not least, it says, what is the probability this time? So the first question we did fraction, this time is what is the probability that a person chosen at random can swim? So the total number that can swim is 190. And remember that we write probabilities generally as a fraction unless it states otherwise. So 190 out of 250 possible students. Doesn't say for me to simplify it. We tend not to have to simplify those questions where it says a probability, but just because we can, I will show you that we can divide both the numerator and denominator by 10, and so we could have written that as 19 over 25. Okay, moving on then to the last and final question. So a bit more of a worded question. Nowhere in this question does it say use a two-way table. So we need to recognise that this would be a suitable tool that we know how to use to solve this problem of this question. So it says Felicity asked 100 students how they came to school one day. Each student walked or came by bicycle or came by car. 49 of the 100 students are girls, 10 of the girls came by car, 16 boys walked, and 21 of the 41 students who came by bicycle are boys. Work out the total number of students who walk to school. So it's tempting here just to start filling your page or your space with sums, but a logical and a sensible way to make sure you don't miss out any information is to draw ourselves a two-way table. So I'm going to do that now. So on one side of the two-way table, I'm going to split this up into boys and girls. So boys and girls, and at the bottom I'm going to have a total. And then going across the top of my two-way table, I'm going to choose the different options. So I've got walk, bike or car. And I'm going to abbreviate that. So I'm going to do walk, bike, car. And let's not forget, it's really important that we get that total column on the end as well. Okay. So I'm just going to draw some lines in so it's a little bit clearer as to where we get that information from. Right, let's fill in some information that we actually know. So in the question it says 49 of the 100 students. So I know there's 100 students in total. And it says 49 are girls. So let's fill in 49. I'm not going to start filling in any others at the moment, just the information it gives me in the question. It then says 10 of the girls came by car. So girls and car is 10. There's 16 boys walked, so 16 boys walked. And it says 21 of the 41 students who came by bicycle are boys. So there's two bits of information there. 41 students came by bicycle. So I'm going to put that in the total for bike. But it tells me that 21 of those were boys. So I'm going to put 21 in the boys. Okay, so I'm now just going to change pen colour so we can see where we're getting these from. So I'm not going to go through the detail exactly of how I'm getting them, because I think you're probably now quite good at that. So the first bit I'm going to look at is the total number of boys. So to do that, I'm going to do 100 take away 49, and that's going to leave me with 51. Okay, the next bit now I'm thinking, well, I could probably work out how many boys came by car. So the boys that came by car, well, I've got a total of 51. So if I do 51, take away 16, take away 21, and that leaves me with a nice 14. Okay, I'm just checking that they add up to 51. And now can add up the total for cars. So going down the cars column, I've got 14 add 10, which gives me 24. And then I've got a couple of options. So I'm going to go for the number of girls that came by bike. Well, there's 41 in total who came by bike and 21 were boys. So that should leave me there with 20 girls. And then I've got to work out the number of girls that walked. Well, I know in total there's 49 girls. 20 add 10 is 30. So that should leave me with 19 girls that walked. Okay, which is actually the question that it's asking me to actually find out, because I need that total. So I'm now going to work out the total is 16 add 19, which gives me an overall answer, and I'm going to write that in a different colour, of 35. So if we go back to that question of work out the total number of students who walk to school. So the total number of pupils or students who walk to school is 35.